doggy. Good morning, good morning. All right, we're up at the cabin here. Beautiful morning. Gonna be doing a little project today, a continuation of a project I've been working on. So here's the barn. Here's the old barn. Look at that thing, man. It's pretty cool. Like to spend some time restoring this at some point, but that's another project for another day. Here's one of my little habitat patches. I got some trails cut out going around, and there's old Hunter making his rounds. But so today what I'm going to be doing is removing some old wire fencing that's connected to T-post. So when we bought this property, there was old wire fencing just everywhere. They had animals, they had horses, and I think they had donkeys and stuff like that. But I don't know how much fencing there is. There's probably 1,000 yards or more. I really don't know. 2 to 3 strands per fence run, and I've been removing. I've probably removed, 300-400 yards of it already, and so I'm going to continue doing more of that today, and I'm going to show you how I do it, because one of the challenges I ran into was how to manage the wire, right? The wire's kind of thick and heavy duty, and at first I was having a hard time trying to figure out, like, how do I coil this wire down? And if you coil it too tight, it gets like heavily pressurized and is ready to explode. So I started doing it this way. I don't know if you could see it, it's kind of dark in here. I started by using extension cord, an extension cord holder, and that worked pretty good. But I was only able to get so much on there, and you could see from the pressure it started to collapse on me. It worked pretty good. Like, it was nice and manageable, mobile, and so I had bought a bunch of these extension cord holders, and it's a great way to store it. So I actually enjoyed doing it that way, but I needed a way to do it quicker, right? I was going to save a lot of this wire because it could be very useful for other things, but I didn't want 300 of these extension cord holders. So the other thing I tried to do was build a homemade like giant wire holder that mimicked what the extension holder looked like. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I have it sitting back here. It's kind of dark, you probably can't see it, but it's right here. I got a lot of wire on there. It worked really good, but that thing is like dangerous. It started, because of the pressure from all that wire being coiled, it almost started to collapse that. So I have it sitting there. I'm going to get rid of that. But it got really big, heavy, bulky, and wasn't real manageable. So I looked at other things online. There wasn't really a lot on there. Like, they sell these different coils and things you could buy that are ran on motors and stuff like that. I didn't really want to get into that. I just wanted to, do it in a simple manual way that I could and get through it as quickly as possible. So I came up with this bright idea that works exceptionally well. So there's a bunch of old tires on the property that are just kind of laying around, and I was cleaning up some of these tires, and boop, that light bulb popped in my head. I was like, I can use the inside of the tire. So you see I got a couple tires here, and I could push the wire in there, and because the wire wants to expand, it could push against the walls of the tire. And so that worked really great. And then on top of it, all I have to do as I move along the fence line is flip that tire up and just roll it. Super simple. And you can get a lot of wire in there. I don't know how much wire is in these tires, but there's at least a few hundred yards in both of these tires together. Have any fencing like this that you need to get rid of that's tough fencing to work with, and you try to coil it, it just wants to blow up on you, try a tire. Try the inside of a tire. It works really well. Now, some of this fencing worked out really well. I found some of this fencing that was older, and it was actually very flexible. It didn't have that springy strength to it like that other wire, and so I was able to just quickly coil them up by hand. So some of the fencing was like that, but most of it was not. So, all right, I've been saving the T-post. I got a T-post puller that I pull them out. I'm probably not going to be pulling any T-posts today, but I'm going to be just cutting wire. I'll show you how I do that and put it in the tire and just roll along the fence line, taking it down. So, all right, let's get to it. Okay, so I was just about to leave the barn and I noticed, check out this snakeskin. This thing's huge. So it comes out of the wall, and then if you could see in there, it actually goes down into it. So it's a really long piece. My wife hates snakes, so that probably isn't going to make her too happy. But at least it's out here in the barn, which is a great place for a snake to hang out and catch mice and rats and whatever else comes across its path. So that was pretty cool. It caught my attention. I was like, whoa. So, all right, let's move on. All right, so here's some of those old tires just laying around in here. So I'm gonna drag them out. This old pine fell down on top of them. But yeah, there's tires just randomly laying. There's actually one standing up over there. So maybe we'll grab that one first. So yeah, this property had lots of junk when we first came in. I had a 40-yard dumpster delivered, and we filled that thing up in a weekend, no problem. So let me get this tire out here. So there we go. Nice. This tire seems to be dry. There's a wasp coming out. So I probably should have been careful when I grabbed in there because I already got stung. But there might be a nest in there. See the wasp? Yeah, you should always be careful when you're reaching into things. And I also planned on using gloves. Gloves come in super handy when working with this heavy duty wire and you're reaching into the fence line. It has, you know, thorns and stuff like that. My truck's in the shop and all of my gloves, I had like 3 pairs of gloves up here. They're all in the truck. So okay, so there are some wasp nests in here. So I almost got stung easily because I reached into this gourd, this old gourd that was a bird's nest that was on the ground a few weeks ago, and put my finger right into a wasp nest, and I got stung pretty good. But yeah, I'm learning not to just reach into things that have openings out here in the country. So all right, well, we'll clean that out and get over to that fence line, baby. Nice and easy. I can roll it. Got my coffee in my other hand with the GoPro going. Filming, rolling the tire. Loving life, baby. Loving life. All right. All right, so I don't know if you guys saw the gate install video I did a few weeks ago. It's working out great. Here's the gate that I did. It's a long video, but it was fun. We got this deck box we use for packages to be dropped. And I'll be doing another video. I'm going to do probably a couple more videos where I kind of spruce this gate up. I'm going to stain the post. I got a sign to hang for deliveries. I'm going to put a nice little pad in for the deck box. So I'll make some more videos as I kind of progress with this project. Eventually I'm going to do the Ghost Controls automatic gate opener with a keypad and stuff like that. So that should be fun to do. But today we're going to start at the corner of the fence right here. So you can see this old electric fencing here. I'm going to start right at this corner, and we got a pretty long run to where I had stopped last time with removing the wire. So probably about 100 yards that we're going to go. There, I believe there's only 2 strands on this fence, and as you can see, you can't even see the wire in some sections because it's kind of buried in the ground. It's old, right? It's fallen off some of these T-posts. The fence line's grown up a bit. So what we're going to do is snip in sections and then start to pull it and then stuff it in the tire, and I'll show you how I do that. So let's get with the snipping. So the wire cutters I'm using, these things are heavy duty. I bought a couple of pairs of these years ago and they work phenomenally well. They cut through this wire like it's butter. The brand, I believe, is Felco. They're nice and compact. I just carry them in my pocket, but these things cut through it like no other. You can cut through a chain link fence with these, no problem. So that's what we're using to snip. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, I'm gonna start right at the corner here. So I see this connection point. I'm just gonna cut right through here. So there's one, and then two right here. All right. So we have a run down to the end of the driveway, which is a good 100+ yards too, that we'll eventually get to. But we're going to start here. I'm going to make some clips down this way. So the wire's kind of buried under the ground there. You can see it sticking up here. So we're going to go ahead and just walk down here quite a ways. I might walk about 50 yards to the next spot. It goes very smoothly as long as you don't have anything weird in the way. When I say weird, there's like different points where the wires have been joined, and sometimes little devices holding it together that are hard to pull through. I actually walked all the way to the end of the fence line, so I can't even see where it ends right here. But I've already removed all the fence line here. I still got to pull these posts. And I also removed it all the way down there. So right around here somewhere, I know this wire comes through and connects. Let's see if I can find it. Man, it's just like, it must just be buried. Let me see where I can see the last couple strands coming through here, because I'm just not, here we go. So I could see it right here. So there it is. I could see both strands, and there is a T-post in this thorn bush here, which I really don't feel like reaching into that, especially without gloves and long sleeves. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut as close as I can. All right, so there we go. So we got both ends cut, probably close to 100 yards. Might even be more than that. It might even be more than 100 yards from here to the gate. But let's start pulling it. Let's start pulling and stuffing, baby. Buddy, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's a good boy. Read that. So there's two strands. Here they are. Right here. So I'm just going to kind of pull these through, and if I could do them both at the same time, that's going to make it easier, because I could definitely stuff these in the tire. There, it's coming through, but it's really buried. So I'm just going to pull these through. It's nice to manage these. The closer you can start to stuff it in the tire and work your way back, the better. But because the one strand's buried, I'm going to pull it out first, and the wire is going to get really wild, so we'll just try to manage as best as we can. So it's starting to come through easy now. All right, so we got about 30 yards. Pull it out. I'm going to show you how I'm going to stuff this in here. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. Now, another good piece of advice is to wear safety glasses. My safety glasses are also in my truck, and the truck's in the shop. So I think I might have some sunglasses back at the cabin, but I'm gonna at least start this now. And the reason is because these loose ends will start flopping around and hitting you in the face, and that's not good. But the good thing is the cut I made is like 100 yards away. So there's these two loose ends, and then two loose ends down there. So we should be all right. So what I do is you could take two strands at a time. I've done it with 3. And you just start to lay them inside the tire here. Just kind of let them naturally go in. see, just like that. Works really well. It's a quick way to manage a bunch of this wire that just wants to go all over the place. You can see how it just goes in there because it wants to expand, so when you put it in the tire, it just pushes against the wall of the tire there. All right, so we've already put that 30 yards worth in. Now we're at this point, and we're going to be pulling the wire from there and continuing to just layer it in there. Works really well. All right. Okay, so I just snipped. I went about 30 yards down and made a cut because the wire was getting hung up on some of the shrubs along the fence line. So I made a cut, and you know, within a minute I was able to pull it through and just wrap it in like this. So now I have about 60, well, there's 2 strands, so I have about 120 yards worth of wire stuffed in there, and I can just roll it on to the next spot. Okay, so we rolled the tire, oh, probably another 30-40 yards. I'm just gonna make some cuts right here. Gotta be careful cutting this. There's no pressure on this line, but you can see how it wants to spring apart. If there was any sort of pressure, you'd have to be really careful cutting this. But there's no pressure on this line. This line was buried, but those ends definitely want to pop. So, all right, let's continue coiling into the tire. This is a good way to do it. So you can see I'm wrapping it in, and the wire is staying nice and caught up in the shrubs here, but it's easy to pull through. So the nice thing is the wire isn't all flapping around, hitting me in the face. Now, as we get towards the end of this, that's a different story. So we're just pulling it, wrapping it, moving on. Nice, easy process. Just goes right on in there. There, you can see how that wire is just wrapping up in the tire there. It's pretty great way to do it. I really am happy I found this technique. I don't know if anyone has any easier ways to do it, but this has worked great for me. And it's a way to repurpose some old tires, right? So I could stack these tires and have all that hundreds of yards of wire in each tire, and you know, just save it or even give it away if anyone needs some. I'm gonna save some. I'll probably give some away, but we're almost to the end here. So we're just gonna make our way down there. We already cut the line down there, and we're just gonna pull it through, get in the tire, and go from there. So this is going real nice and smooth. I'm just doing one strand right now because that bottom strand is so buried, it's hard to pull it, but this top strand's coming real nice and easy. And just as I say that, it gets hung up. So we've pulled probably 30 yards of it. It's getting hung up somewhere, so let's go see what's hanging it up here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's definitely getting hung up somewhere in there. Okay, so I think that's the top strand. See, it looks like it's clearing the connection at the T-post there. Looks like it's clearing this one. Yeah, it's definitely hung up. So that's what I had mentioned when doing this. Sometimes if the wire was connected and joined together, it won't be able to pull through that T-post because it gets hung up. So I could see the bush moving down there. I think it's hung up somewhere around there. So that could be what we're dealing with. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, it's somewhere back here. we will track down the culprit. So let's see. Oh, there we go. Still hung up. I feel like we're back near the area that we had. So here's the end. I don't know what is getting hung up. Oh, I see it. Look at this. Look at this. This is where it was getting hung up. Look at that. That was getting hung up in these channels here. So that's definitely the culprit. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Straighten that out so I can pull it the rest of the way without it getting hung up. In fact, I'm just going to snip that so it doesn't cause us any more issues. There we go. All right, we should be back in business, folks. Just a little hang up. Literally. We'll take this little piece with us and just stick it in the tire. All right. All right, so just had a cool little run-in with a fawn. I was just coming around this corner. If you remember in the video, I had cut the fence actually right on the other side of this big shrub here, because I couldn't see where the wires ran to the end. And so I went around this corner, and there was a baby deer, little fawn, bedded right by that shrub there. And I literally got within probably 5 feet of it, and it exploded up, ran out, stopped. I didn't have the GoPro, but I had my phone, got video of it, and went out that way. So that's why I'm not going to just mow these fields down, right? Perfect habitat, food source, great cover for deer, turkey, rabbits, birds, all sorts of game. So that's awesome just seeing that. I'll put the video in right now. Well, howdy folks. We just finished coiling up the rest of the wire from this run that I did it's over 100 yards long. Didn't take us long at all. Minimal hang-ups. I had 2 hang-ups. The one you saw, the other one I didn't record, but it was the same issue where the line kinked and it wasn't pulling through the brush and the T-post, the channels that the wire sits on. But this is what it looks like when you get, you know, a couple 100 yards worth of wire in there. And I mean, it's not heavy. You can carry it, you can roll it. There's a little bit sticking out here, it's no big deal. But yeah, that's all she wrote for now. So I think we're just going to close out the video there. I don't know how exciting this video was for you, but if you were looking for a easy way to store electric wire that's used for fencing, and the wire likes to spring and bounce around and you can't really coil it up easy or bend it, throw it in some tires and stack those tires, baby. So it worked for me. It's a good way to repurpose some of these old tires, store some of this wire for potential future use, or I can give them away. I can just give the tire to somebody, throw it in the back of their truck if they need any, and we'll go from there. So hope you liked the video. Always appreciate everybody who watches these videos and likes them and stuff. So I have fun making them, and have a great day. Catch you later.
Well, so it's just a ride. Well, so it's a sad story.